Hello, Republic of Gamers, and welcome to ROG Pulse, the weekly PC Talk podcast here. And this week we've got one heck of a show lined up for you, talking about the new RX 6000 series graphics cards that AMD Radeon just showed off yesterday. My name is Jake Kalinsky, and joining me here on this show, we've got Jeff Campman. Jeff, what's new, my
Hey
friend?
Jake. Hey, so yeah, it's been a pretty exciting week with new graphics cards. I'm always up for that.
Yeah, it's been
Um
an exciting month. AMD having two
yeah.
events. So
hmm hmm New CPUs, new graphics cards, two great tastes go well together.
yeah.
So
So outside of the PC world, anything cool and exciting
mhm.
going on with you? Do anything fun lately?
So yeah, I'm actually broadcasting from a remote location. I This past weekend, I helped a buddy of mine do a stream for Extra Life, which is a charity in the US and possibly around the world. But they gamers join up with Extra Life and do charity streams where viewers can donate, and the proceeds benefit their local children's hospital. So this past weekend, we streamed for 20 hours nonstop, uh, raising funds, and
Have you ever done
it
that
was
before?
really cool. So, this is something my buddy does every year. I've never participated personally, but my spouse helps him out. So we drove down together, and yeah, this was my first time actually being part of it. It was a lot of fun.
How did you feel after 20 hours of gaming?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I was staying up for the camera. The camera motivated me. And I was like, yeah, we're gonna see this through to the very end. But the moment the that tally light went off, I was in bed and I slept a good long while.
They actually announced the World of Warcraft Shadowlands day today, so that'll be a 20-hour gaming session for me in a
Yeah.
month.
No, I think AMD even showed off some
Shadows.
ray
Yeah.
traced
Yeah.
effects. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll need one of these cards.
Yeah, that's a great segue because today we're jumping in to discuss basically our line of these 6000 series cards. And to just bring everyone up to speed in the event that you missed the announcement yesterday, AMD came out, they showed off their three cards. There's the RX
hmm
6800, the RX 6800 XT, and the RX
hmm
6900 XT. Jeff, what's the big takeaway here?
So, I mean, this is a major generational advance for AMD. Um, the RDNA architecture debuted a while back on the RX 5000 series,
Yep.
and the RX 6000 series is a new architecture called RDNA 2 that's built on the same 7 nanometer process node. Um, but what happened here? AMD's engineers have been hard at work. I think I said the same thing with the Ryzen 5000 series. They did a lot of hard work to get more out of the process node. These cards clock higher. They get better performance per watt, and they enable some next generation rendering features in games using DirectX 12 Ultimate. So you get ray tracing, you get some other effects.
Hmm.
I'm not a game developer. I'm not going to claim
Right.
that I can explain them in full detail, but you get access to some really neat tools that are going to drive the next generation of gaming experiences. So just really, and from the performance numbers they've previewed so far, just really impressive stuff for 4K gaming, 1440p. Just really exciting time if you're a PC gamer.
Can you explain to me what this 128 megabyte infinity cache is?
So I this is really interesting. Most graphics cards, so in the memory hierarchy, cache is it's on the chip.
Hmm.
Um, and big caches let you keep more information on the chip. You don't have to move as much data around, which is very, especially between memory and cache and, the processor itself, which is very expensive power wise. And so having 128 megabytes of cache on a GPU, it's, that's just huge. There's no other word for it. It's literally huge. From what we've seen so far, it has some nice performance benefits as far as power and memory bandwidth is concerned. Um, but we'll hope to learn more close to launch. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's really unusual in PC GPUs. It's a really major architectural shift.
Well, we're not going to go a full deep dive in on the announcements
Yeah.
that AMD has already done. So if you guys want to check that out, you can find that on the AMD YouTube. But we're going to actually show off the brand new cards that we have to show off that we're bringing to the table
Mhm.
here from ROG. And where should we start? Which one do you want to start with?
So I think we definitely want to start with the ROG Strix LC Radeon RX 6800 XT.
Okay, he's made the
Here it
call.
comes.
Here's the big boy.
Here it is. So and now as everybody has seen, but when we saw the potential of this card, the performance potential of this card, um, we've done several special liquid cooled Radeon graphics cards in the past. Longtime fans of ROG will be familiar with our Ares series of cards, which have featured liquid coolers, crazy configurations like dual GPU. Um, yeah, they're we save the liquid coolers for the special stuff. We really wanted to do one for this generation. So PC enthusiasts will already be familiar with liquid cooling graphics cards. It's something you can retrofit to your GPU if you want. But since we had a clean opportunity to do a clean sheet design here, we wanted to make it tailored for a graphics card. And so CPU liquid coolers just cover the CPU. There's a plate of copper, comes in contact with the GPU, transfers heat into that liquid cooling loop. Um, but on a graphics card, you not only have that central piece of processing silicon, right? You have memory chips uh, ringed around it. And so those two components, the GPU and its memory, are the things that are most critical to the performance of the entire card. And so you really want to cool both of them to unlock the lowest temperatures for both. You want to unlock the highest overclocking potential. And so we designed a full coverage cold plate that covers both the GPU and the memory around it and transfers all that heat right into the liquid cooling loop.
So, with everything getting cooled, is that a drastic difference in performance? I mean, obviously it's going to be better off, but how much of a gain would
Yeah.
you guess?
Well, we'll save that for a later
Okay.
date.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say too,
I'd love to
right?
talk about it. Yeah.
But
No,
it's
but again, it's something we really want to yeah, I mean, it's just something you want as an overclocker, as an enthusiast, for both the best out of box performance, for the best stock clock performance, and overclocking potential, right?
yeah.
We just want everything covered, all those performance critical parts covered. And so you may be wondering, if we have this full coverage cold plate, why is there still a fan on the card? And the answer to that is the power delivery circuitry. There's
Okay.
still a voltage regulator, like every graphics card, there's still a voltage regulator on there that we have to keep cool. But all that fan does is circulate air over the power circuitry. It's not involved in cooling the GPU or memory. So it doesn't have to spin very fast. It just keeps that air moving over those components.
Now
So,
for the exhaust, what kind of options are we looking at for mounting that?
so yeah, because we have that remote radiator, which by the way is a 240 millimeter radiator, which we chose to balance cooling potential and ease of mounting. Um, that most enthusiast cases have multiple places for 240 millimeter radiators. At least one mount, usually on the top panel where heat can exhaust from the case, but also on the front panel where you're drawing in air. And so, because we have this radiator, this remote radiator, you have a couple interesting possibilities for what you can do with it as far as the cooling design of your system. As we just alluded to, you can put it on the top panel, and so that heat just goes directly into the radiator and is exhausted directly from your case. It doesn't interact with the other components in your PC so much. So that's probably how I imagine most people will use this.
Yeah.
Right. But if you have especially robust system cooling, like you have good exhaust fans in multiple locations in your case, you could also take that radiator and you could put it on the front panel as an intake. And that gives the card the most access to the coolest air because
Huh.
it's drawing in directly from the outside.
Right.
So if you want potentially more headroom thermally, you maybe wanted to operate the card more quietly, you also have that option. Um, and some members of the chat might be thinking to themselves, well, then it's blowing hot air back into the case. Well, we have a solution to that too. Um, this card, like a lot of ROG Strix cards, has are Fan Connect 2 headers. And what those do, they're tied directly to the same fan control logic that drives the rest of the fans on the graphics card. They respond to changes in GPU temperature. So, again, if you have those robust exhaust fans elsewhere in the case, you can hook them up directly to the graphics card. And instead of waiting for the CPU or a motherboard thermal diode to get hot and signal the fans to spin up, you can just rely directly on the graphics card. So you're drawing in cool air and exhausting hot air in response to changes on the graphics card itself. So that's really cool.
So I know you're a cooling enthusiast. Which route would you go with this card?
Um, I would probably just go with the direct exhaust output.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, you'd have to play with the intake and see how it performed because it's going to vary from case to case. But it's an option, right? And we really want you to be able to play with this and choose the route that's best for you. Um, and Jake, I actually just got an image of the cold plate design.
Oh my goodness.
If we have,
Yeah, we
I
can
might
we
be
can
able
slap
to.
it on screen somehow.
Yeah, give me just a
Look
second.
at this
I'll give it to you.
breaking news. We're like, what kind of assets can we get to show off here? Because again, everything is happening really fast, and the fact that we
Yeah,
literally got an image dropped live is pretty cool.
yeah. Let me.
Sure,
It's downloading now.
but
Hopefully, I can.
I mean, obviously, we can talk about what we can see with the card. We've only got the two images
Mhm,
right now, but the
yeah.
RGB is definitely present. It
Oh
feels,
yeah. Yeah. We don't want to forget about the style of the card. I think this looks fabulous. Um, on the cooler shroud itself, you can see we have those RGB or addressable RGB LEDs shining through those slits, showing the ROG logo. We have those ROG cybertext accents on the metallic
yep,
elements of the card. That's and you can't see it in these pictures. There's actually an ROG logo. I think it's illuminated on the edge of the card too. So no matter how you mount this, it'll always be clear uh, what your allegiance is, which is really nice. Um, and then the radiator fans are also addressable RGB LEDs. They're the same ones that we use on our CPU liquid coolers, and they all this whole system syncs up using Aura. So
yeah.
you have motherboards, you have other compatible
So
components. You can
you could
easily
have
integrate this.
this liquid cooled 6800 XT,
Hmm.
and then you could have an ROG liquid cooled on your processor on your Ryzen,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it would just be a beauty.
Be easy, yeah. Be easy to sync up. It'd
Nice
be
and
glorious.
quiet too.
Yeah. Let me make sure I have the right image here. I'll
Sure,
try and
sure. I
scroll
mean, the
through pretty
fact that
quickly.
Chad's saying I'm sad I got an RTX 3080, because there's well, it's really cool, right? If you're an enthusiast and you really like liquid cooling, there's not a lot of GPUs that even offer this.
Hmm.
So when
Yeah.
I saw this, I was like, wow, I want
Hmm.
one.
All right. I just zapped that over to you in
Okay.
Teams. So yeah, yeah, that is and oh, I didn't mention also. So when you're building an enthusiast grade system with like a really powerful graphics card like this, um, and you have those various mounting options, right? You want a lot of freedom, a lot of flexibility with the tubing as well, because that is essentially the defining factor for how far away you can put the radiator from the graphics card itself. And so we went with really extra long tubing for this card. We used 600 millimeter, which is just under 2 feet. I had to go convert that for myself to get an idea of it. But that's a lot of tubing. And so even if you're using a ooh, there it is. Yeah. So look at that cold plate, right? But yeah, so you have a lot of options with the tubing for this because it's so long and yeah, we keep it looking nice. We've covered it with a textile weave shroud to
Yeah.
keep it protected from abrasions. It classes up your case. But yeah, between the 240 millimeter rad, the really extra long tubing, um, you have a lot of options for how you can put this in your case. But yeah, that cold plate, which is what we're looking at on screen, you can see how we specifically designed that to cover the GPU die, the memory around it, those two raised areas next to the big square central portion. Uh, Yeah, it's a really comprehensive, tailored
Is this
solution.
like is this the first graphics card we've made with this kind of cooling?
As far as liquid cooling is concerned, no. Like I was saying, we've also done some in the past called the Aries
Okay.
series that have
Uh
used closed loop
is this
liquid coolers
is this
before.
plate different or is it similar style, do you know?
Yeah, it's tailored for this specific application.
Cool.
Hmm.
Yeah. We're getting all the
It's
details,
glorious.
and obviously we're going to be learning more, even us, like we don't have every
Hmm.
ounce of juicy knowledge yet, as this is really
Yeah.
really brand new news, but
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah,
it's cool.
that is the ROG Strix LC card in a nutshell. Like I said, the RX 6800 XT is one of the fastest GPUs that AMD has ever made, and we really wanted to match it up with a cooling solution that would unleash its full potential. And so I think, um, yeah, it's really exciting.
Powerful card. RX 6800 XT. I mean, they talked about the stats yesterday. You're going to be able to do pretty much anything with one of these. I can't think of a game
Mhm.
you wouldn't be able to achieve good results with. And we're
Yeah.
starting to get into that era of 4K gaming, which, as
Hmm.
someone who's on a 4K display, I really can't
Yeah.
wait to get one of these.
Yeah, Jake, you got that XG27 UQ. It's 4K, 144 hertz.
And you don't get
Just jealous saying those
yeah,
words.
you don't, but you don't achieve that kind of results with a 2080,
Right.
which is what I have in my machine. I just can't do that.
Wow.
But if I
Yeah.
had a
It's time for an upgrade.
6800, yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
It's time for that upgrade. But
Well, I think
yeah,
we're
the yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was saying the LC card wasn't the only one that we've
Right?
applied the ROG treatment to.
We can also look
We
at the RX 6800 non-liquid cooled, a little bit more
Yes.
traditional.
Yeah. So the RX, like Jake said at the beginning, AMD announced three GPUs yesterday. The RX 6800 is the more mid-range oriented model. And for the ROG Strix version of this card, we took our most advanced air-cooled heatsink so far and applied it to this. So it's a 2.9 slot design. It's a really massive cooler. It uses three of our latest fans with the Axial Tech design that we debuted in past generations.
Hmm.
And so you have two fans on the outside with notched barrier rings. Most fans just have blades that terminate off in space on their own. These are surrounded with a barrier ring to direct airflow better. And those notches further improve the turbulence characteristics at the intake side of the cooler. The outer fans rotate in the opposite direction from the central one. The central fan uses a solid barrier ring to direct more air over the hottest part of the GPU.
Hmm.
So yeah, each of those fans has a job to do, and it's a really carefully considered design. We have higher blade counts than the previous generation too, just to move more air. Period. 2 points going from 2.7 slots to 2.9 slots. That's a lot more surface area you have to move air through.
Yeah, looks like
Um,
we've got the addressable RGB on the side as
yeah,
well.
yeah. So this generation of RG Strix, you have that big addressable RGB LED light bar on the side. Um, I love it. It's just really bold. Like when we first saw this design light up on camera, it was just like everybody's jaws were like, ah. So yeah, it's really sharp. Um, you
Um,
can't see it. There's a full coverage backplate. Unfortunately, I only have these two images, but
right.
there's a full coverage backplate. Um, it also, like a lot of our recent cards, this one has a cutout in the backplate to allow for better airflow into your case's exhaust path. So it's just really at the cutting edge of what we can do with air cooling.
Just to address chat really quick, guys, we will be taking a lot of questions at the end, so just sit tight because we're just gonna take a look at our cards and then we'll dive in and answer some of your
Hmm.
questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely another beauty without the
Hmm.
liquid cooling. Obviously,
Right.
um, a slightly less enthusiast version, I suppose, but even still, it's a little bit more classic and standard. I'd say.
Well, I mean, it's also just, the 6800 and the 6800 XT just occupy different slots in the
That's true.
market. So
Yeah,
yeah, this is a high end 6800. It'll be a very nice 6800. And the 6800 XT is, even better still.
yeah, that's your
So
powerhouse.
yeah. Yep.
Cool. All right. Last but not least, we also have a TUF Gaming card. And this is
2, in fact.
also, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so both the RX 6800 and the RX 6800 XT will be getting the TUF Gaming treatment too.
Oh,
So yeah, these two cards both feature 2.9 slot heat sinks. So still a really big air cooler. Um, they use like the Strix, they use our latest Axial Tech fan design. So you have that same increased blade count, the notched barrier rings, counter rotating design for the best performance. But it's a slightly stealthier, less extroverted design. You have that one, you can see it in the one photo. There's a more subtle aura lighting
mm,
at the front edge of the card. Um,
much more subtle.
rather than the full length addressable array there on the Strix card, which and it's all black. Um, you have some subtle tough gaming graphics on the back.
Yeah.
Um, they're not over the top, but you know, just enough to identify. And like you can see in the image of the back of the card, it also has that cutout to allow more of the exhaust airflow to escape. So,
Speaking about the back, someone in chat even just
mhm.
said so many capacitors. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah. I,
ridiculous.
I looked at that. I looked at that, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of components. Um,
It is.
but yeah, that's typical of AMD GPUs. Um, so yeah,
It's cool.
You can see the dual mode BIOS switch there. We have performance quiet modes. There's two 8-pin power connectors. Yeah, because the board powers of these cards are actually fairly reasonable. So again, like AMD didn't have to, for all that increased performance, AMD didn't have to boost the board power that much, considering what's on offer. So yeah, that's really nice too.
Yeah, it seems like
Yeah, so that
their cards are all like the same size as well, right? These are all
mhm.
pretty similar.
um, I don't think we have official dimensions to share.
Okay.
The tough our other tough cards for this generation have been shorter than the ROG Strix by a
Really?
fair bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so but we'll provide more details on that closer to
Closer to launch, which
launch.
to be announced. We don't have any
Hmm.
news on that yet.
Yeah, this is the first look, and what a
Okay.
look it is, honestly.
Yeah. I want to bring back the liquid cooled one just because I think it is the star of the show. Absolute
Hmm.
beauty.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So I think we're gonna take some questions from chat. Anything we might have
Hmm.
missed here, Jeff, that we wanted to jump into just before
No, I
we?
think I think that's a pretty good overview
Yeah.
of what we have on offer so far.
And again, guys, these just got announced like hours ago. When
Mhm.
did the article out? Did we put an article out, right? Just
Yeah, so we announced these just this morning.
yeah. Okay.
It's been just over 12 hours. Um, and yeah, actually, just got we have a helping hand at headquarters from our TPR team, and they say the Strix and Tough cards are actually similar length. We won't discuss the exact length, but they're similar. So,
Okay. We've got one question was, will we get a white edition? And the TLDR with this is in the past, we have maybe done a white edition after the initial launch. So there's hope yet, but we don't have any information to share with you. But maybe,
mhm.
maybe,
Make your voices heard.
yeah. If that's something you guys are into, because I'm
Hmm.
building my wife a all white PC build right now, and
Hmm.
I'm just gonna make her keep her graphics card. I'm like, you're gonna have to wait. You got to hold off.
Yeah.
Who knows? Um,
Hmm.
why not full rad?
So I think what this question is referring to is why not a 360? Why 240? And the answer is, I think if you've seen if you've ever worked with a 360 millimeter radiator, that's a lot of radiator. That takes up so much space, and when you factor in the end tanks on that radiator, you have to be really careful about how it fits into a case. I've worked with some cases in the past that have said, "Oh, this fits a 360 millimeter rad," and then you get it in there, and it's like, well, there's going to be some elbow grease, or you're going to lose your optical drive bays, or you're going to. It's tricky. Um, so again, yeah, we thought this was a great balance between cooling capacity and ease of mounting. So And if you still want to liquid cool your CPU, um, it leaves you mounting options as well. Like if you just have a 120 millimeter rad for your CPU. So yeah, again, it's just about striking that best balance between performance and practicality.
Fair enough. This question's getting asked a lot in chat. Any 6900 XT?
We have no details to share at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
No updates yet. We've got the 3 that we showed off here, or I guess 4 with the TUF
Yeah.
Gaming
Well,
Cards.
yeah. Yeah, the two TUF Gaming Cards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
nothing to announce at this time.
nothing to announce, but who knows? Who knows? Anything's possible, especially with how crazy things are nowadays. I mean, more and more people do want that super extreme high end, right? It's
Mhm.
becoming more
Well,
and more
yeah.
common.
Yeah, nothing to talk about at this time.
Yeah. Okay. We actually did get a slight confirmation that the TUF and the Strix non-liquid cooled are a similar length, so they're similar
Mhm.
size.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, a lot of the same questions back and forth.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
Jeff.
anything we can go back over just to make sure people are because I know some people may have joined us later in the call
Yeah,
or
I mean,
the
we can
show.
just basically, as we can look over this again, guys. This is the liquid
Yeah.
cooled RX 6800 XT. So this is kind of the premium of our new lineup for the Radeon cards. And
Mhm.
as it's been going back and forth on the screen, I mean, it's a beauty. And then we
Yep.
have the 6800, kind of like the next tier of the Strix family.
Mhm.
Looks a lot like the RTX cards, similar
Mhm.
body, but
Yeah.
honestly, I'm happy for that because I just love this.
Mhm.
I'm an
Yeah.
RGB fanatic, right? And when I see the addressable RGB, I mean, I'm
Mhm.
basic, and is that basic for PC, terms nowadays to like be obsessed with RGB? Is that like the basic? Is that the pumpkin spice latte of being a PC gamer?
No, I mean, I just it's fun, right? And PC gaming is about, at the end of the day, we want it to be fun. You should want it to be fun. You
Yeah,
should have fun with your PC. It should be an expression of your taste. Um, and it's like I always tell everybody, if you don't like it, you can always turn them off. But I think when most people add RGB LEDs to their PC, they're like, "Oh, this is so cool,"
yeah.
and they keep them on. They even customize it to make it look how they want it. So, yeah.
Not too long ago, we announced a partnership with ROG and IKEA, and I'm just hoping I can get RGB dinner plates. That's really all I need in my life. A lot of people asking about availability and pricing, and we have no info to share on that regard, guys. So sorry.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll have more info soon.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. I think I think there's some questions about we mentioned it looks similar to, our other graphics cards.
yeah,
Yeah, it looks similar. There's obviously implementation details that are different. We obviously tailor and customize each design to as needed. So, but we do want to maintain a familiarity across the entire brand.
well, yeah, it's part of the
So
branding.
this
Yeah,
is the RG Strix look,
right.
and
This
this
is
is
what
what you're getting with
exactly. If you're
the
buying
RX
Strix, you want it
6800.
to look this way. That's what it is. It's
Hmm.
cohesive with the rest of our products.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
Axial Tech fans. We talked about the
yeah,
fans.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And I think there's some questions about whether the TUF and Strix cards are both 2.9 slot for the air cooled version. And the answer is yes, they're both 2.9 slot heat sinks.
cool. Um,
We're still getting backup from our
yeah,
friends over in Taipei.
they're helping us peruse through the chat.
Hmm. And I think if you switch back to the LC card, Jake, you
Yeah.
can see that it is the main body of the card is just a bit more than 2 slots, but because most of the heat is being transferred into the liquid cooling loop, um, we can keep it within those bounds. It is slightly wider than the mounting bracket, as you can see there, but that's, that's not usually where cases are constrained. So
Cool. Someone's already asking which is faster, the AMD Strix or the NVIDIA Strix. So that's going to be the fun thing to find out,
ooh.
because we don't know yet. Honestly, it's gonna come down to when
Yeah.
all the reviewers get their hands on
Yep.
these, and so they
Yep.
start to play on. What's exciting to me is how good these AMD cards look, because honestly, I can't wait to see those numbers because I'm ready
Yeah.
to be impressed.
Yep. So like I said at the beginning, the numbers we've seen so far are really exciting.
Yeah, they are.
And yeah, once graphics card reviewers get their hands on these, you can be assured they're going to run them through their paces.
Oh yeah.
And they will, they'll tell the stories. So
No, I really
can't
couldn't be
wait.
more excited
Can't
to
wait.
just to see exactly how they do line up,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
we're entering a bold new era of 4K gaming, and it looks like AMD came out swinging with this new launch.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
with these ROG cards, we're not cutting any corners. Designed without compromise. These are
Yep.
designed to pull out, like with liquid cooling, especially if, like you were saying, overclockers. This is going to be a card where you might be able to push it pretty darn far if you have the cooling to support it.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think there was a question in chat about whether the LC card was clocked higher. We can't discuss specific clocks right now, but the LC versus the non-LC card, we're talking different GPUs.
Right,
So the air-cooled Strix is just the 6800.
right.
So it'll
Not the
be
XT.
clocked lower. It's yeah, right. It'll be clocked lower just,
This
because
guy
it's a
right here.
6800.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. Because it's a 6800 and not an XT. Um, and there, I think there was a question about Strix versus Tough clocks. Again, can't go into specifics right now, but the Strix will be higher clocked. So that's yeah.
I don't think we got too much
Again,
more that we can dig into here,
yeah.
but
If you want the best, you want the Strix
DLC.
LC
Yeah,
card.
yeah. I
It's going
mean,
to give you the most options, the highest cooling potential, the possibly the most overclocking headroom. Just it removes those limits to exploring the outer boundaries of performance. So
and look at it. You
yeah,
want that in
just
your
look at it.
machine. And I think you could
Yeah,
turn the RGB off if for some reason that like isn't your thing. If you just want
yeah,
like a silent machine, you can go into Armory Crate or and you can
yeah,
disable the RGB.
yeah, exactly. But it's addressable, and there's so much of it. Why would you deprive yourself?
I know.
I think there was a question. Yeah, I think there was a question about whether these have backplates. All three have metallic backplates, so that protection is there.
Correct. There is no air cooled 6800 XT for the Strix.
Mm-hmm.
It
At
is
the moment.
liquid cooled
Yeah.
or then a 6800 air cooled.
Mm-hmm.
RGB haters in chat.
It's like you said, if you don't like it, you can turn it off.
Yeah.
And it yeah, you don't you can have the stealthy build.
Plenty of appeal there. But yeah, Jeff, I
Mhm.
think that's pretty much what we have to answer in terms of questions today. Any final thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, just waiting for confirmation on one point,
Oh,
but
okay,
yeah, they
okay.
say
No, no
the
worries.
software does let you turn off the RGB LEDs, so you can have it however you want. This card gives you so many options, cooling
I spoke
options, lighting
assuming.
options. Yeah, no, it's cool. Um, Cooling options, lighting options. Yeah, like you said, it's designed without compromise, and I can't wait to see what it can do.
And just
But yeah, I think we can wrap it there.
yeah.
We've hit all the high points, and like we said, reviews will come out, and you can see how it stacks up, and that'll be a very exciting day.
Looking forward to it. I mean, I assume these will be getting sent out to YouTubers. They always get them before everyone else anyways, right? So we'll get the reviewers
Yeah, we'll
before
see.
too long.
We'll see.
Before too long.
Yeah, we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
But with everything
All
being as
right.
crazy as it is, who knows? Who knows? But
Yeah.
just to like touch on a couple points again, guys, we don't have a price, we don't have a date for you right now. We don't have any news on a white one. Those have been the most common questions, and no,
Yeah.
there is currently no announcement for any kind of 6900 XT. You know, there's
Hmm.
maybe it'll exist. I have no idea. No news to share there.
Yep.
I think that pretty much wraps it. We showed
Yeah.
off the 3 different cards, and we have the article up on rog.gg if you want to
Hmm.
read more.
Yep. Check it out.
All right, Jeff. Any final words?
Nope.
All right,
I think
everyone.
we're
Well,
good.
thank you all for tuning into ROG Pulse. This is a weekly live stream where we sit down and talk about pretty much anything ROG. We'll be back next week to talk about AI noise canceling and kind of how that works and basically the benefits of how that's becoming part of the whole ROG ecosystem. Tomorrow I do a live stream here on the channel as well, where I'm playing and giving away some codes for a game called Dying Light. And next week I'm giving away some codes while I play Ghost Runner. So chance to win some free codes if you tune into the stream. Check it out. Hit that follow button. We'll see you next time. GG's. Take care.